Saint Bridget was born into a noble family. Her father was an influential legislator and knight, and her mother was a deeply religious woman. From an early age, Bridget was exposed to a life of privilege but also intense religiosity. Her parents were known for their devotion and generosity, often helping the poor and needy in the region. Bridget's childhood was marked by mystical events that would shape her spiritual future. At 7 years old, she had her first vision, in which she saw the Virgin Mary giving her a crown. This event was interpreted by her family as a sign of her future sanctity. Over the years, Bridget continued to have visions that reinforced her faith and guided her toward a life of service to God. In addition to her mystical experiences, Bridget received a rigorous education, which was unusual for women of the time. Her father, recognizing her intelligence and potential, ensured that she studied the scriptures and sacred texts. This solid education not only deepened her faith but also equipped her with the tools to become a spiritual and intellectual leader. The premature death of her mother when Bridget was 12 years old was a turning point in her life. After this event, she was sent to live with an aunt in another region of Sweden, where she continued her religious studies and developed an even deeper devotion. This period of her life was crucial for her spiritual growth, solidifying her determination to follow a path of holiness. Even in her youth, Bridget was known for her compassion and generosity. She often donated her belongings to the poor and cared for the sick and needy. These acts of charity, combined with her mystical visions, made her a respected and admired figure in her community. Bridget's childhood, filled with spiritual experiences and acts of kindness, laid the foundation for her extraordinary life as a saint and reformer. Bridget's early religious experiences were intense and transformative. From childhood, she felt a divine presence guiding and protecting her. Her visions were not only mystical encounters but also detailed instructions on how to live a holy life. At 10 years old, she had a vision of the crucified Christ, an experience so powerful that it caused her to faint. This vision was a decisive moment that deepened her commitment to the Christian faith. Bridget's visions continued during her adolescence, each one reinforcing her divine mission. She saw saints and angels who conveyed messages from God, guiding her actions and decisions. These mystical experiences were often accompanied by feelings of peace and joy, but also a sense of responsibility and duty. Bridget believed she was called to a special mission, a calling she accepted with humility and determination. Besides her visions, Bridget found comfort and inspiration in daily religious practices. She spent hours in prayer and meditation, seeking a deeper communion with God. Reading the scriptures and the writings of the saints was also an important part of her spiritual routine. These moments of introspection and study helped Bridget to better understand her faith and to develop a clear vision of her mission in life. The influence of her family was also crucial during these formative years. Her father, in particular, was a model of faith and virtue. He encouraged Bridget to pursue her spiritual dreams and supported her religious practices. This atmosphere of familial support and devotion was fundamental to Bridget's spiritual development, giving her the confidence needed to pursue her divine calling. Bridget's early religious experiences were not without challenges. She faced doubts and trials that tested her faith and determination. However, these difficulties only strengthened her resolve to live a life dedicated to God. Bridget's visions and mystical experiences not only shaped her spirituality but also paved the way for her future role as a religious leader and reformer. At the age of 20, Bridget married Ulf Gudmarsson, a Swedish noble. Despite her role as a wife and mother of 8 children, she never lost sight of her spiritual calling. In fact, her marriage became an extension of her religious devotion, as both spouses shared a deep Christian faith. Together, They undertook several pilgrimages and devoted themselves to charitable works, further reinforcing Bridget's commitment to her divine mission. Bridget's married life and motherhood were marked by a delicate balance between her family responsibilities and her profound spiritual calling. Despite her many responsibilities as a wife and mother, Bridget never neglected her spiritual life. She and Ulf frequently engaged in charitable works, helping the poor and needy in their community. Motherhood brought Bridget many joys but also significant challenges. She faced the loss of some of her children, which was a source of great sorrow. However, her unwavering faith helped her to overcome these difficult moments. Bridget believed that her experiences of pain and suffering were a way to participate in the sufferings of Christ, a perspective that gave her strength and resilience. One of Bridget's children, Catherine of Vadstena, followed in her mother's footsteps and also became an important religious figure. Catherine was one of her mother's greatest supporters and played a crucial role in spreading the order of Saint Bridget after Bridget's death. The relationship between mother and daughter was based on a deep shared faith and commitment to religious life. Bridget's married life was also marked by a spiritual partnership with her husband, Ulf. They shared mutual respect and a common devotion to God. This spiritual partnership was fundamental to the success of the many religious and charitable activities they undertook together. After Ulf's death, Bridget decided to dedicate herself completely to religious life, seeing this as a continuation of her divine calling. Bridget's married life and motherhood show that it is possible to balance family responsibilities with a deep spiritual commitment. Her life is a testimony of faith, resilience, and dedication, demonstrating that holiness can be found in all spheres of life. Bridget managed to harmonize her role as a wife and mother with her divine calling, creating a life of service to God and humanity. Saint Bridget's transformative conversion marked a significant turning point in her spiritual life. Following the death of her husband, Ulf, Bridget experienced a profound strengthening of her faith and a renewal of her commitment to God. This period of mourning was also a time of introspection and search for a greater purpose, leading her to dedicate herself fully to religious life. Bridget began to live a life of asceticism and intense devotion. Her mystical visions became more frequent and detailed, guiding her on her spiritual path. She began to identify more and more with the sufferings of Christ, believing that her own trials were a way to participate in the divine sacrifice. This deep identification with Christ was a central aspect of her spirituality and motivated many of her subsequent actions. During this period, Bridget also began to receive revelations that criticized the abuses and corruption within the Church. Her visions instructed her to speak out against injustices and to promote spiritual reform. Bridget did not hesitate to convey these messages to ecclesiastical leaders, even though she knew she might face resistance and hostility. Her courage in denouncing corruption and standing up for the truth made her a respected and feared figure at the same time. Bridget's conversion was not only a personal transformation but also had a profound impact on her community. She founded the monastery of Vadstena, which became a center of spirituality and religious reform. The monastery was a reflection of her vision of a life dedicated to God, combining prayer, study, and service to the needy. Bridget attracted many followers who shared her devotion and commitment to spiritual renewal. In addition to her work at the monastery, Bridget actively involved herself in social and political issues. She saw her role as a defender of the poor and oppressed, using her influence to promote justice and charity. Her life became an example of how faith can be a transformative force in society, inspiring others to follow her example of service and devotion. Saint Bridget's transformative conversion is a testimony to her unwavering faith and commitment to God. Her life was a continuous journey of spiritual growth and service to humanity, showing that true holiness involves both contemplation and action. Bridget dedicated her life to following the divine call, becoming a light of hope and inspiration for all around her. The founding of the monastery of Vadstena was one of Saint Bridget's most significant achievements and a landmark in the history of medieval spirituality. In 1346, Bridget received a divine revelation instructing her to establish a monastery dedicated to the Holy Savior. This monastery would not only be a place of spiritual retreat but also a center for religious reform and charity. The monastery of Vadstena was founded in 1346 and quickly became a center of spirituality and learning. Bridget had a clear vision for the monastery. It was to be a place where men and women could live in community, dedicating themselves to prayer, study, and service to the poor. This innovative approach reflected Bridget's belief in the spiritual equality of all human beings, regardless of gender. Bridget established rigorous rules for the monastery, based on the revelations she had received. These rules emphasized the importance of prayer, penance, and service to the needy. The monastery was also notable for its commitment to education, offering instruction in theology, philosophy, and other disciplines. This focus on learning reflected Bridget's belief that knowledge was essential for spiritual life. The foundation of the monastery also reflected Bridget's desire to promote reform within the church. She believed that the monastery could serve as a model of Christian life, inspiring others to follow a path of holiness and service. Through her actions and teachings, Bridget hoped to renew faith and devotion among Christians, helping the church return to its fundamental values. The monastery of Vadstena quickly gained a reputation for holiness and scholarship, attracting many followers and pilgrims. Bridget's presence at the monastery and her mystical visions continued to inspire those around her. After her death, the monastery became the center of the Order of Saint Bridget, continuing her legacy of spirituality and reform. The founding of the monastery of Vadstena was a testament to Bridget's commitment to her divine mission. She dedicated her life to creating a space where faith and reason could coexist, promoting holiness and service to humanity. The monastery remains today as a symbol of her spiritual vision and her lasting impact on the church and society. Saint Bridget believed that her visions were a form of direct communication with Christ and the Virgin Mary. These mystical experiences frequently included detailed dialogues, in which Bridget received specific instructions on how to live her life and how to guide others. The visions covered a wide range of topics, from theological issues to social and political critiques, reflecting Bridget's deep concern for justice and truth. One recurring theme in Saint Bridget's visions was the reform of the Church. She often saw Christ lamenting the corruption and abuses within the institution, urging Bridget to speak out against these injustices. These revelations gave Bridget the courage and moral authority to openly criticize ecclesiastical and political leaders of her time, promoting a spiritual renewal based on Christ's teachings. Bridget's visions were also deeply personal and spiritual. She often saw the sufferings of Christ, an experience that made her feel an intimate connection with his sacrifice. These visions were a source of comfort and inspiration for Bridget, strengthening her faith and determination to follow her divine calling. Through these mystical experiences, Bridget developed a profound understanding of God's love and compassion. In addition to her visions of Christ and the Virgin Mary, Bridget also received revelations from various saints. These experiences enriched her spirituality and gave her a broader perspective on the Christian faith. The visions were recorded in her writings, which became an important source of inspiration and spiritual guidance for her followers and for the Church at large. Saint Bridget's visions and revelations were not only mystical experiences but also a call to action. They motivated her to found the monastery of Vadstena, to speak out against corruption, and to promote justice and charity. Through these visions, Bridget felt continually guided and supported by God, dedicating her life to fulfilling the divine purpose revealed to her. Saint Bridget's pilgrimages and travels were a crucial part of her spiritual life and her commitment to renewing the Christian faith. Throughout her life, Bridget undertook several pilgrimages to holy places, seeking a deeper connection with God and promoting her message of reform and justice. One of Bridget's most significant pilgrimages was her journey to Santiago de Compostela in Spain with her husband Ulf. This journey, undertaken around 1341, was an important milestone in her spiritual life. During the pilgrimage, Bridget had several visions that reinforced her divine mission and commitment to religious life. This experience was a moment of profound spiritual renewal, strengthening her determination to follow her calling. After her husband's death, Bridget continued her pilgrimages, traveling to Rome in 1349. The Eternal City became the center of her spiritual and reformist activities for the next 24 years. In Rome, Bridget sought papal approval for the foundation of her religious order and to promote her visions and revelations. She became a well-known figure in the city, respected for her devotion and her courage to speak out against injustices. During her pilgrimages, Bridget not only sought spiritual inspiration but also actively engaged in charitable works and reform efforts. She visited hospitals, helped the poor, and worked to improve the living conditions of the needy. These actions reflected her commitment to social justice and her belief that true holiness involved both contemplation and action. In addition to her travels to Santiago de Compostela and Rome, Bridget also made pilgrimages to other holy sites in Europe, including Jerusalem. These journeys were both an expression of her personal devotion and an opportunity to promote her message of reform and spiritual renewal. Bridget saw her pilgrimages as a way to follow in the footsteps of Christ and the saints, seeking a closer union with God. Saint Bridget's pilgrimages and travels had a lasting impact on her life and mission. They not only strengthened her faith but also gave her the opportunity to share her visions and promote the reform of the Church. Through her travels, Bridget became a powerful voice for justice and truth, dedicating her life to following the divine call and serving God and humanity. Saint Bridget's influence on the Church and medieval society was profound and lasting. Her life and visions had a significant impact, not only in her own time but also for future generations. Bridget used her position and her mystical experiences to promote spiritual reform, social justice, and charity, leaving a legacy that continues to be revered today. Bridget was a vocal critic of abuses and corruption within the Church. Her visions often included messages from Christ criticizing ecclesiastical leaders who strayed from Christian teachings. Bridget conveyed these messages with courage, openly challenging the hierarchy and drawing attention to the need for spiritual renewal. Her willingness to speak truth to power made her a respected and feared figure. Through her letters and writings, Bridget influenced many religious and political leaders of her time. She corresponded with popes, kings, and other dignitaries, sharing her visions and advising them on spiritual and moral issues. Her advice was frequently sought and respected, reflecting the depth of her spiritual wisdom and moral authority. Bridget also had a significant impact on society through her charitable works and social reform efforts. She founded hospitals, helped the poor, and worked to improve the living conditions of the needy. Her dedication to social justice reflected her belief that true Christian faith involved both contemplation and action. Bridget saw service to others as a fundamental expression of her spirituality. The foundation of the Order of Saint Bridget was another way in which she left a lasting legacy. The order, based on the principles of prayer, study, and service, continued to promote Bridget's ideals after her death. The monastery of Vadstena became a center of spirituality and learning, attracting many followers and perpetuating Bridget's vision of a life dedicated to God and service to humanity. In addition to her religious influence, Saint Bridget also had a significant cultural impact. Her life and work inspired numerous artists, writers, and musicians over the centuries. The figure of Saint Bridget appears in various works of art, literature, and music, reflecting her enduring role as a source of inspiration and devotion. Saint Bridget's legacy also includes her ongoing impact on spirituality and religious practice. Her emphasis on prayer, social justice, and spiritual renewal continues to resonate with the faithful today. Saint Bridget is remembered not only as a visionary and reformer but also as a model of faith lived with courage and compassion. Saint Bridget's influence on the Church and medieval society was a testament to her unwavering faith and commitment to justice and truth. Her life and visions inspired many to follow her example of holiness and service. Bridget's legacy continues to be a source of inspiration and spiritual guidance, showing that true holiness involves both contemplation and action on behalf of others. In the last years of her life, Saint Bridget dedicated herself even more intensely to her divine mission. Established in Rome, she continued to advocate for reforms in the Church and share her mystical visions with leaders and the faithful. Despite her declining health, Bridget remained an active and influential figure, tireless in her pursuit of justice and spiritual renewal. Bridget spent long hours in prayer and meditation, seeking a deeper communion with God. Her visions continued to be a source of guidance and comfort, strengthening her faith and determination. During this period, she also wrote extensively, recording her revelations and spiritual reflections. These writings became an essential part of her legacy, offering deep insights into her spirituality and mission. One of the most significant events of Bridget's later years was her pilgrimage to the Holy Land in 1372. Despite her advanced age and weakened health, she undertook this journey with a group of followers, seeking a closer connection to the holy sites of Christianity. During the pilgrimage, Bridget had several visions that reinforced her commitment to her divine mission. The journey, though exhausting, was a highlight of her spiritual life. After returning to Rome, Bridget's health continued to decline. Nevertheless, she remained steadfast in her faith and devotion. On July 23, 1373, Bridget passed away in Rome, surrounded by her followers and family. Her death marked the end of an extraordinary life, wholly dedicated to the service of God and humanity. Her body was initially buried in Rome but was later transferred to the monastery of Vadstena, according to her wish. Bridget's final years were a testament to her unwavering faith and resilience. Despite physical and emotional challenges, she maintained her commitment to her divine mission, inspiring those around her with her courage and devotion. Bridget's life and death left a lasting legacy, reflecting the depth of her spirituality and her impact on the Church and society. Bridget's death did not mark the end of her influence. Her followers continued to promote her visions and teachings, and the Order of Saint Bridget grew and spread throughout Europe. The impact of her life and work continues to be felt today, demonstrating the strength and resilience of a truly lived faith. Saint Bridget is remembered not only for her visions and teachings but also for the miracles attributed to her both during her life and after her death. These miracles reinforced her reputation for holiness and inspired deep devotion among her followers and the faithful over the centuries. During her life, Bridget was associated with several miracles that highlighted her special connection with the divine. Stories of miraculous cures, divine interventions, and inexplicable events were common among those who knew her. One of the most famous stories involves the healing of a blind man who, after receiving a blessing from Bridget, regained his sight. This and other similar accounts spread quickly, increasing Bridget's fame as a woman blessed by God. Another significant miracle attributed to Bridget was the multiplication of food. During a time of famine, it is said that Bridget prayed for the meager supplies of a monastery to be sufficient to feed the community. Miraculously, the food did not run out, allowing everyone to be fed. This miracle reflected not only Bridget's deep faith but also her compassion and concern for the needy. After her death, accounts of miracles continued. Many pilgrims who visited her tomb in Vadstena reported miraculous healings and other graces received through her intercession. Bridget's tomb became a place of pilgrimage, attracting faithful from all over Europe seeking her blessings and miracles. These accounts of posthumous miracles were an important factor in her canonization. The miracles attributed to Saint Bridget also played a crucial role in her canonization. In 1391, less than 20 years after her death, Pope Boniface IX canonized Bridget, officially recognizing her holiness and the miracles attributed to her. The canonization was a testament to the faith and devotion that Bridget inspired during her life and after her death. Saint Bridget's miracles continue to be an important part of her story and legacy. They reflect not only her profound spirituality and connection to the divine but also the unwavering faith of her followers. Through these miracles, Bridget remains a source of inspiration and hope for many, demonstrating the power of faith and sincere devotion. Saint Bridget's canonization in 1391 was a formal recognition of her holiness and the profound impact of her life and work on the Church and society. The canonization process was relatively swift, reflecting the deep devotion and respect that Bridget had garnered during her life and after her death. Pope Boniface IX formalized the canonization, highlighting the importance of the miracles attributed to Bridget and her contributions to the Christian faith. The canonization not only recognized Bridget as a saint but also solidified her legacy as a central figure in medieval spirituality. From that moment, Saint Bridget was venerated as a powerful intercessor and spiritual guide for the faithful. Saint Bridget's legacy is vast and multifaceted. Her writings, including the heavenly revelations, continue to be an important source of spiritual inspiration. These works, which record her visions and teachings, offer deep insights into her spirituality and understanding of the Christian faith. Bridget's writings are studied by theologians and devotees, reflecting her spiritual wisdom and commitment to truth and justice. The Order of Saint Bridget, founded by her, continues to be an important part of her legacy. The order, known for its commitment to prayer, study, and service to the needy, reflects the ideals that Bridget promoted during her life. The monastery of Vadstena, the original center of the order, remains a place of pilgrimage and devotion, attracting visitors from around the world who seek to connect with the spirit and teachings of Saint Bridget. In addition to her religious influence, Saint Bridget also had a significant cultural impact. Her life and work inspired numerous artists, writers, and musicians over the centuries. The figure of Saint Bridget appears in various works of art, literature, and music, reflecting her enduring role as a source of inspiration and devotion. Saint Bridget's legacy also includes her ongoing impact on spirituality and religious practice. Her emphasis on prayer, social justice, and spiritual renewal continues to resonate with the faithful today. Saint Bridget is remembered not only as a visionary and reformer but also as a model of faith lived with courage and compassion. Saint Bridget's canonization and enduring legacy are a testament to her profound spirituality and commitment to God and humanity. Her life and work continue to inspire and guide the faithful, showing that true holiness involves both contemplation and action on behalf of others. Saint Bridget's written works, especially her heavenly revelations, had a profound impact on Christian spirituality and medieval theology. These writings, which record her mystical visions and teachings, offer a window into her deep faith and connection with the divine. Bridget's works continue to be studied and revered, providing valuable insights into Christian spirituality and the mystical experience. The heavenly revelations are perhaps Saint Bridget's most well-known work. This extensive compendium of visions and mystical dialogues covers a wide range of topics, from theological and moral issues to social and ecclesiastical critiques. Bridget's revelations frequently included detailed instructions from Christ and the Virgin Mary, guiding her in her life and mission. These writings were widely disseminated and had a significant impact on theology and religious practice of the time. Bridget's writings also highlight her concern for church reform. She openly criticized the corruption and abuses within the institution, calling ecclesiastical leaders to return to Christ's teachings. Her visions included messages from Christ lamenting the moral decay of the church and urging spiritual renewal. These brave critiques reflected Bridget's determination to promote a more authentic and committed faith. In addition to her critiques and instructions, Bridget's works are also known for their deep spirituality and devotion. Her writings include prayers, meditations, and spiritual reflections that offer insight into her inner life and connection with God. These texts continue to be a source of inspiration for devotees and scholars, reflecting the depth and sincerity of Bridget's faith. The impact of Saint Bridget's written works extended beyond her own time, influencing generations of theologians, mystics, and faithful. Her writings were translated into several languages and studied by theologians throughout Europe. The spiritual depth and moral clarity of her revelations continue to resonate with readers, offering a unique perspective on Christian spirituality. Bridget's writings also had a significant cultural impact. They inspired various works of art, literature, and music, reflecting her lasting influence on Christian culture. The figure of Saint Bridget and her revelations continue to be a source of inspiration for artists and writers, demonstrating the power of her spirituality and vision. The impact of Saint Bridget's written works is a testament to her deep faith and connection with the divine. Her writings offer a unique perspective on Christian spirituality, combining intense devotion with a sincere concern for justice and spiritual renewal. Through her works, Bridget continues to inspire and guide the faithful, showing the way to a life of faith and service. Saint Bridget of Sweden remains a figure of great spiritual and cultural relevance today. Her legacy of faith, courage, and commitment to justice offers valuable lessons for the contemporary world, inspiring people to seek a life of service and devotion. In a time of global challenges and uncertainties, Bridget's life and visions remind us of the importance of authentic spirituality and moral action. Saint Bridget's life is a testament to the power of faith to transform not only the individual but also society. Her tireless dedication to spiritual reform and social justice serves as an example for those seeking to make a difference in the world. In a modern context, where inequality and injustice still persist, Bridget's message of compassion and service to the needy is more relevant than ever. In addition to her social impact, Bridget also offers a model of deep and authentic spirituality. Her visions and mystical revelations challenge us to seek a closer connection with the divine, to embrace meditation and prayer as forms of spiritual growth. In a world often dominated by materialism and distraction, Bridget's spirituality invites us to slow down and seek depth and meaning in our relationship with God. Bridget's example also teaches us about the importance of moral courage. She did not hesitate to criticize the abuses and corruption within the church and society, even in the face of resistance and hostility. Her willingness to speak truth to power is a valuable lesson for all of us, reminding us that true justice often requires courage and determination. Bridget inspires us to be advocates for truth and integrity in our own lives. Today, the Order of Saint Bridget continues to be a living testimony to her legacy. With monasteries and communities in various parts of the world, the order perpetuates the values of prayer, study, and service that Bridget promoted. These communities offer a space for those seeking to live a life of devotion and service, following in the footsteps of Saint Bridget and contributing to spiritual and social renewal. Saint Bridget of Sweden left us a lasting legacy of spirituality and action, a legacy that continues to illuminate the path for all those who seek to live a life of faith and purpose. Her life and visions are a beacon of hope and inspiration, showing that even in the midst of challenges and adversities, we can find the strength and courage to follow the divine call. Saint Bridget of Sweden, pray for us.